most of you are to blame for this. I was influenced. Hello, all of my beautiful bookish souls. I hope you're having a wonderful, magical, fantastical day, week, month, year. I am going to be fully honest with you. I've been influenced. BookTok got me, and it got me good. All right. The book haul I have for you is the product of FOMO and doom scrolling BookTok. Y'all said these books were good. I am trusting you on that. We shall see in the future. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you can see whether or not these books were overhyped, underhyped, or appropriately hyped. Because I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I am not a big book buyer. I don't just go run out and buy a whole bunch of books. It's just not sustainable. I don't have enough room in my house for all of that, to be honest. As much as I would love to have a library with a scrolling ladder and have a big bell moment, it's just not, it's not feasible, all right? So before we get into this massive book stack, I've got about 15, maybe 20 books for us to get into. Y'all know the drill. We are going to crack a cold one. Yes, do the Dr. Pepper dance. So make sure you've got your bevy. Make sure you've got a snack. And we're going to get into it. First, before we start, let it be known, I'm not a typical big book buyer, okay? If I am going to buy a book, it has to be one that I really think is going to resonate with me. All right. It's going to give me all the good feels. It's going to be a 5-star read. So most of these, while they have been heavily influenced by BookTok and just reviews that I've read, they're also in my mind books that I think this is going to be it. You're going to love this. It's going to change your life. It's going to be transformative. You're going to be a different person after this. We have a local library and then one a couple towns over, and they do a book sale every quarter where they're getting rid of older or just books that just don't get checked out a lot. And I happen to overindulge in that sale every single time. You can grab a bag and actually fill the bag for $5. Like what? Who is going to pass that up? So I don't. I do not pass that up. And so I have a whole bookshelf of old library books that I need to dive into. However, last month was my birthday, and so I have been gifting myself to me from me, okay? And I bought all of these to add to the never-ending TBR list. But like I said, I think, I hope, pray that I'm going to enjoy them. And if you are one of those people who have read these, go ahead and comment, rate, give us your rating down below. Try to keep it spoiler free so you don't ruin it for the rest of us. There are a couple books that I have already, that I've already read. I dove right in, okay? There was no hesitation on my part. So the first book on our list did make its way around BookTok, so you've probably already heard about it, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This does have a trigger warning, I will say, for suicide and suicidal thoughts, so if that's not your vibe, skip it, all right? However, for me, I thought it was very creatively words, girl, creatively done. I thought it was very easy to read. The chapters are set up really nicely and they are fairly short. It is all about a girl who is discovering what happens when you get a second chance and you get to pretty much make right the regrets that you've had in life, and basically what happens when you get to explore those missed opportunities. This was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. Next up is a February release. This is Listen to Your Sister by Neena Vale. This is a speculative horror fiction. Think in that Jordan Peele lane where it gives you that social justice. It touches upon racism. It explores the relationship between 3 siblings. The main character, the main female character, is the oldest daughter, and it pretty much kind of goes around her nightmare of seeing her younger brothers get murdered, and it kind of unravels that whole thing during this book. I personally gave this 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite. The ending kind of fell apart for me. The pacing was a little off. However, I will say it's very creative. The writing is really good. Like I said, she does touch upon like social justice stuff, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. 3 stars for me on that one. The next one should come to no surprise. If you love romantasy or fantasy books, then you probably bought this as well. And that is our girl, Rebecca Yarros, with Onyx Storm. This is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series. Fourth Wing was the first. Iron Flame was the second. This was a 5-star read for me. I don't care what anybody says. I absolutely loved it. It follows Violet as she pretty much goes through being a... I don't want to give it away. I was just going to say what she is, but I'm not going to tell you just in case you haven't read Fourth Wing. But basically, she's our female main character. There's a lot of conflicts. There's some war. There's some rebellion. There's some revolution. There's some oppression. There's dragons. It's fun. I loved it. Am I going to read the next 2? Absolutely. All right, so those are the ones that I have already dived into. Next on the list, we have a super popular TikTok, booktok author that I have seen all over the place. Personally, I have never read a single one of her books. This is a completely new author for me, but I have heard some incredible things, and that is going to be Kristin Hannah. The first one I got is Magic Hour, and this one feels a little bit more along my lines, my vibes. I love crime, thriller, suspense, edge of your seat, page turning books, and I feel like this is going to be up my alley. This is about a girl who appears in the woods, and there is a psychologist who is going to help her unravel why she's there, because of course old girl does not remember how she got to where she is, and in doing that, this psychologist is pretty much going to try and restore her career. It sounds like something I would love to read, and that's why I bought it. So we'll see. It's kind of mystery thriller. All right, next is The Nightingale. You cannot, I think, stumble upon somebody's page on BookTok, Bookstagram, wherever you're seeing books being talked about, and not see somebody talk about this book. Personally, for me, the reason I have not picked it up yet is because war and historical fiction is not my favorite. It absolutely is not. I will say I do love 11/22/63 by Stephen King. That's one of my all-time favorite books, and that's why I was like, let's go ahead and give this a chance. We'll see what it's all about. It follows 2 French sisters dealing with the German occupation during that time, and all about surviving and resisting what is going on. I have heard magnificent things about this book, and so I'm looking forward to it. It is a bigger book. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, because like I said, I'm not big on historical dramas, but from what I've heard, Kristin Hannah really delivers a stellar writing experience. So if you've read this one, let me know what you thought of it below. And if you have any other Kristin Hannah recommendations, let me know as well. I do feel like I'm probably going to love her, even though I'm not a big war historical person. Next up, we have Heartless Hunter. This one's actually a reread for me. I read it last year on Kindle Unlimited. I don't think it's available anymore on Kindle Unlimited, but the second one just came out, and so that's why I was like, I'm going to need this one in hardcover if I'm going to grab the second one as well. So this is Heartless Hunter. This is all about a witch, and in her time there is a revolution and magic is now forbidden. She and a witch hunter end up getting in a little enemies to lovers trope, and that pretty much explores their relationship and the, like I said, the revolution that is going on behind there. She's like a martyr for other witches. She saves them. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Let me see if I have, hold on. Let me lift these up. And here is The second one, this is Rebel Witch, and this explores what happens after, obviously, Heartless Hunter. I don't want to give away what this one is necessarily about if you haven't read the first one, but I cannot wait. I'm about halfway through Heartless Hunter, and I'm going to start this one right after. All right, next up, this was actually a Netflix-influenced purchase. I don't really read a lot by Elin Hilderbrand, but I've heard really good things about her in general. I did watch this TV show, The Perfect Couple. It follows a Nantucket, really high-end couple. Their family is pretty wealthy. The mom is an author, and the brides, their son is getting married, and the bride's maid of honor dies before the wedding. And so this book pretty much unravels the mystery of what happened to her. Nicole Kidman in the series was really, really good. I loved watching it. I think I binged all 8 episodes like that, okay? So I had to pick up the book. Usually books have a lot more details than the TV shows or the movies do, so that's why I had to grab that one. Next one was another BookTok influence. It was actually an ACOTAR influence. So I ended up grabbing the Sarah J. Maas Crescent City series. This is only the first 2. I'm going to wait to get the third one because it doesn't come out in paperback until June. Once that drops, I'll grab it in paperback. This is the story of Bryce, and she is half fae, half human, and it follows along with her. I don't really even know what happens. She's in Crescent City. Oh, brutal murder shakes the very foundation of the city, and Bryce's world comes crashing down. 2 years later, Bryce still haunts the city's most notorious nightclubs, seeking only oblivion now, trying to put the past behind her. When the murderer attacks again and an infamous fallen angel, Hunt, Athalar, is assigned to watch her every footstep. So I have a feeling that this is going to follow Bryce and Hunt. And again, I grabbed the second book because I know I'm going to like the first one, and when that happens, I immediately have to jump into the second one. When it comes to series for me, if all of them are out, I have to read all of them back to back. There's no wait for that. All right, next one. Hold on, I gotta find, oh my God, there's so many books. I gotta find a place to put them. Oh my God, we knocked the shroom over on there. All right, so this next one is my Book of the Month pick. If you're not familiar with Book of the Month, it is a subscription box, and every month you can get a new book. You can also add on extra books. I think you can get up to 5 add-ons, so like 6 books. It's like $17. Between this and Kindle Unlimited, those are the only subscriptions that I really have. Like I said, I'm not a big book buyer because I do switch between my Kindle Unlimited and then all of the library books that I have here. And then I also do go to the library as well. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like sometimes BookTok and that has you believing that overconsumption is the only way to consume books, and that is not the truth. You can easily go to the library and check out books from there. I actually went to Goodwill today. We were on our way to the store and there was a Goodwill, and I was like, skirt, let's go ahead and stop in there real quick. And I picked up 4 books in there for $9. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you're getting your books as long as you are reading. But this is my February Book of the Month pick. This is all about it's like a domestic situation, a suburban scandal, if you will. Everything is all wonderful, pleasant in the morning, and then by night, a wife learns that her husband is actually is he a criminal? Let's see. From the author of best-selling Wrong Place, Wrong Time comes an addictive thriller about a new mother. Oh, shit, she's a new mother too? Oh, that's too much for her to be dealing with. A new mother whose world is upended when her husband commits a terrifying crime. How well does she truly know the man she loves? And what danger does she face if her entire life has been built on a lie? Will this end in divorce? We shall see. If it doesn't, like, girl, what is you doing? What is you doing? This next one, you guys, is a classic. I've read it a bunch of times. I don't think I've ever had a copy of this. Before we moved into our current house, I ended up purging almost 300 books, and I sold them to half-price books. So if you're reading anything that I donated, I love that for you. So I had to pick this one up. It's the 75th anniversary. This is 1984 by George Orwell. It is a dystopian novel. There's civil conflict. There's war, revolution. It's very poignant, very impactful. And oddly enough, it's still relevant to what is happening in today's society. If you have not picked this book up, please do. It is also a banned book, and I loved reading banned books because, like, why is it banned? What are you talking about? Next on our list, this was a BookTok influence buy. I've seen so many people talk about this. However, I've also seen so many people say you are going to cry. It is going to leave you depressed, and I don't recommend it. It's one of those books that goes either way. It pretty much follows the story of 4 friends as they grapple with substance abuse, sexual assault, and depression. It is set in New York. I love stories that absolutely rip me apart, make me think in a different way. They shine a light on a different perspective. And this is going to be one of those books, I believe, that's going to do that for me. So I'm looking forward to that. This is A Little Life by Hanya. Yanagihara? Love it. Next one is a quick, easy thriller that I had been meaning to pick up. This one is all about Evie Porter. She's a nice southern girly who has everything: the perfect boyfriend, the perfect house, the white picket fence. The only problem is Evie Porter doesn't exist, right? Like, doesn't that make you want to pick it up already? And again, it's probably one of the shorter books that I have. It is a thriller, and I cannot wait to dive into this one. Give me a neon moment, and I'm probably going to buy the book. I know we're not supposed to judge our books by our covers, but I do. Speaking of covers, I love this. This is an ethereal, really pretty, just magical moment, which is fitting because that is pretty much what the story is about. It is about a young woman, June Farrow, who is trying to break a generational curse, and she ventures through a shimmering door that she previously thought was just a hallucination. No, girl, it's real. You're going to step through it and shit's about to get real, okay? Love that. I like anything magical. I'm not the biggest, hugest dark romance fantasy reader, but if it has like even a hint of magic in it, give it to me. 2 of my comfort shows happen to be The Good Witch and Charmed, so anything witchy, I'm there. Which brings me to this next guy, which does have a little bit of a magical flair. Babel. If you've been on BookTok, you've already seen people talking about this one. This was a blind buy for me, okay? Honestly, when I got this in the mail, I was like, who bought this? Did I do that? I did. I did do that. I probably should have bought a dictionary to go with it. I've heard that R.F. Kuang uses some big words, but go ahead, girl. Throw them at me. We are going to get through this. And again, I do feel like it's going to be one of those books that I'm going to give 5 stars to. It is an alternative reality in which Britain's global economic and colonial supremacy are fueled by the use of magical silver bars. Love that. And I will let you know how confusing I am. I've seen some people say the first 10 chapters, what are these words? What is this? The next one is The God of the Woods. 2 Van Laar children. The Van Laars happen to own a summer camp. 2 of their children have gone missing 14 years apart. So this book is really going to dive into what happened, why their children went missing, and surrounding the blue-collar community that lives and works within this wealthy family's shadow. I'm not going to lie to you. This cover, the pink drip, there's just something about it. It's oozing mystery, and I love that. Last book on the list is another one you've probably seen floating all over in different book discussions, and that is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This was probably one of the first books that was added to the TBR list that I needed to buy out of all of these, and that was because I've just heard so many good things. I have more good things than bad things with this one. And this is 1975, small town in Missouri where girls are disappearing. A wealthy family's daughter is targeted, and a local boy named Patch is actually going to be the hero of her story. And so this kind of surrounds what happens with him and all of the fantastical things that he goes through in order to save her. I will probably read this one first out of all of those. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little intimidated by Babel, a little unsure about A Little Life, but I bought them anyway. Am I going to love them? I don't know. You're going to have to subscribe to my channel to find out. All of these books will be reviewed, and I will share my thoughts about every single one of them. If you have read any of these and you feel so inclined to share how you felt about them, go ahead and comment below. Like I said, try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. If you really want to have a discussion or talk me out of reading it, follow me on Instagram at bookmarked.bybree. Just shoot me a message over there like, girl, don't do it. Do not do it. That is it for our book haul today. All of these, most of these, it was either Barnes & Nobles. We were able to hit up a local bookshop. Some of them I did grab off of Amazon. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter where you're getting your books as long as you are reading. You don't have to have a big bookshelf. You don't have to have a full collection. You don't have to read physical books. You can read Kindle books. You can listen to audiobooks. It doesn't matter. You're reading. That's what counts. Okay? I hope you all have a fantastic day. I would love to sit here and chit chat for hours on end, but y'all just saw we have got 15 books that we need to dive into. I love you and happy reading.